Hello everybody, Sunday Adelaja here. We are doing quick, fast, and concentrated teaching this week. And the series that we are in is called High Yielding Lifestyle versus Low Yielding Lifestyle. So, talking about life, is your life a low yielding life or a high yielding life? Well, the topic today is going to be build or buy, or buy or build. I would rather say buy or build, buy or build. So that's the topic that we are doing today. You know, in the series of high yielding life versus low yielding life. So are you know, all of us are doing one thing or the other every day of our lives. Every day of your life, you are doing one of these two things. Either you are buying or you are building. Every day, you are doing one of the two. But unfortunately, most people are geared and are oriented more towards buying than building. They are working on spending rather than on gaining. They are working on liabilities rather than on assets. They are working for liabilities rather than working for assets. So, what do I mean by this? I'm talking about people that most of their lives are focused on getting stuff, buying stuff. For example, I'm a pastor, so this breaks my heart, but I'm going to use the example. Most of my pastor colleagues, especially back in Africa, they are bragging themselves about the new building they are just constructed, just constructed, built. But what is that? That's spending money. They are not building human beings. And the people who build the structures that they are talking about, they are mostly people they have to pay. They are mostly maybe even the most of the equipment or most of the gadgets or whatever, or the equipments or that the devices that they use in that building, they are imported and they are built by other men. Why is it that you don't focus? Why is it that they don't brag themselves that we've been able to produce this person that is produced? Okay, let me just even start. That is produced the iPhone. Let somebody say, oh, I bought iPad today, or I bought iPhone today. It's a big deal. Why are you rejoicing about buying iPhone or iPad? Instead of you to be thinking of building iPad or an iPad or an iPhone. You see, are you living a low yielding life that is focusing mainly on buying? Why are you bragging yourself at buying a new car, a new Mercedes car? I mean, I have a lot of people, especially in America, a lot of friends and a lot of foreigners who come there. It's a lot of Africans. They are driving about and they're saying, I ride a Mercedes Benz. I drive a Mercedes Benz. All my cars are Mercedes Benz. Good for you, because that's where you belong. But why don't you think about raising up or investing your money in young men that will be building a new generation of cars? Instead of just going about there and be talking about your Mercedes Benz, how many cars you have. I want to brag myself by how many people I've helped to build cars. That's what I want to brag myself about, not about the cars that I have. I don't want to brag myself about building a church or building this empire and that building. I want to brag myself about how many people I've given houses to, or how many people I've raised up to become people who build houses and give houses to people. Yeah, we have a church building, but I'm more proud about the fact that I've raised up people in my church that are building, that are developers, that are building 5-story buildings, 9-story buildings, 10-story buildings, 20-story buildings. Not 1, not 2, not 10, not 20. People who are developing this, who are raising these things up. I am more proud of that than church building. I am more proud of people who don't just buy a microphone and say, oh, we bought a new microphone. Sure, we bought a new this, a new that, a new camera. I would rather brag and about people that have raised up to create that kind of camera, to invent that kind of camera. The same thing I see with my country, Nigeria. I mean, it becomes depressing to watch the news from Africa, you see. Because these governors are going about with a lot of entourage. Even presidents are doing this. And what are they going to do? You see this entourage going to dedicate a bridge they just built. The whole president. The other day, the president of Nigeria went to Lagos to open a bus station, bus stop. And you build the bus stop, you always see one white man or the other around them. Even the road you are building, you don't even have the tractors. You cannot even produce the tractors. You cannot even produce the machineries that constructed that road. And I'm not, when I see them pointing at celebrating the road they built, I am thinking, why should we have to import that machinery to build a road, that tractor, that road layer? Why do we have to import it? I'm thinking about us building this kind of machinery. That is what I will be proud of. Because those other things, you are buying them. You are not building them. That bridge you said you built, you didn't build it, you bought it. Because you gave the contract out to some foreigners. Those cathedrals that we say we are building, we don't build them, we bought them. Because the foreigners are taking their money. Why don't we raise people in our churches that will know how to produce these machineries and manufacture all these things that we are giving money out for? You know, I personally know the importance of building manufacturing, of building a nation, building people. If you've listened to testimonies from our churches, go and look for testimonies that people give in the Embassy of God Church. It's all about building people up. Not just about, that's what we get in churches in Africa. Oh, I had a headache and it's gone. Oh, God gave me a healing for this. God, it's just about taking, getting. Buying. I gave offering and I got this. I gave tithe and I got this. I brought this about low yielding lifestyle. Low yielding life. Instead of teaching our people about how to produce stuff, how to develop ideas, how to build projects, how to create things. These are the things that bring about high yielding life. When we build, when we create, when we invent, when we innovate. You look into your life. Most of the things that you have in your life, most of the things that surround you, are they not things that you buy? Is it not just about buying? Especially people living in diaspora. A lot of our people are working all the time. They work. And you want to know what they are working for? They are mainly working for Uncle Sam. They are working to be able to buy something. That they are either working to be able to buy something where they are, to be able to buy a house, or to be able to buy a car, to be able to buy something or buy education for themselves or for their children, which is not bad, but that shouldn't be the goal. The goal shouldn't be to just be able to buy a house. The goal shouldn't be to just be able to live in a big house or to be able to ride a big car. The goal shouldn't be to be able to, afford something, to be able to say you have this and you have that. That is a waste of life. That is people wasting life all around us. And especially the Africans, immigrants, and in all these countries, they are going to school, they spend a lot of years studying, then they look for to get a good job. And why do they want to get a good job? Why do they want to get all this wonderful job? They are praying for wonderful job. They are looking for opportunities. It's all about being able to afford something, being able to buy something. But this is one thing we have to change. We've got to change that whole mindset of being able to live big, or being able to just being able to buy something, being able to afford something. That is how the survivors think. People who just want to survive and make a living. We have to train our people to go beyond surviving and making a living. We've got to train our people to begin to not just think about affording or being able to afford to buy something or to use something or to live somewhere. We have to begin to think about, we have to begin to lecture and raise up people that will begin to think about high-yielding life. So what is the way high-yielding people are supposed to live? High-yielding people are supposed to be thinking about building, not about just going to school, but about building your own school. Not just about working in the hospital, but about having a whole hospital system, health system. Not just about living abroad, going to live in Europe, but about creating Europe back in your own country. Not just about, sending your children, being able to afford your children good life, but about being able to create good life for your whole country. Not just about being able to, build a good house for yourself, but about being able to, raise up people who will be able to create new cities, new land. That is the kind of life that we're supposed to be thinking. That's the kind of life we're supposed to be thinking about. And that's the kind of life we're supposed to be, targeting. So it's a life of building rather than buying. Unfortunately, most of us are oriented at buying. And but when you are oriented at building, anything you see, you want to duplicate it. And this is the reason why a lot of our politicians, they come to Europe, and when they come to Europe, they don't even know how these things, they get education in Europe, they study in Europe, they could even be the best in their classes, but they don't know how to reconstruct their countries. They don't know how to recreate what they have seen in Europe back in their own countries. They don't know how to build. They are only thinking about buying. That's why our countries are based on raw materials up to now, because we are not thinking of how to create, how to be able to build systems, how to be able to build machineries, how to be able to build industries, how to be able to build countries and nations that are going to be at par with European countries. We are thinking of just getting raw materials and buying what they have already built. So we must begin to, if we want to raise up our living standard and our standard of living, we must be able to change the mindset of our people and reorient them to be able to, live a life that is high yielding. And high yielding life is always focused on building rather than buying. A lot of people in Nigeria now, they just, I just need to have money. If you have money, you can buy anything. No, that is a low life. It's a low yielding life that thinks about buying. You have to be thinking about building. Build up people, build up industries, build up tractors, build up trailers, build up machineries, build up military complex. For me, when I see our foreigners, my countrymen, our immigrants that are in these countries, and they're just bragging themselves that they're able to build this, they're able to buy this, or they're able to buy this and buy that. It's all about buying. It breaks my heart because, that's a low yielding life. Buying, being able to buy, they work all their lives and they just to spend what they have made. Instead of, discovering how what they have made could be used to build something that they were supposed to buy from other people, or the things that they used to buy. Instead of using what they have made to be able to build a nation, a country, a city, an alternative to what they wanted to buy. And that is how China has been able to become a leading country right now. Instead of just focusing on buying what the West has done and what the West have, they are creating, they are building. They are building everything. Everything is in China. It's all about building. They are thinking about building, creating what they didn't have and they never had before. That's exactly what the Asian countries have done, like Taiwan, like Korea, like Japan. They are thinking about, even if they are going to duplicate or they are going to steal the technology or they are going to copy whatever has been built, but they are thinking of building. Not just about buying. In my country, when I was growing up in Africa, and even up to now, I think most of the thing people who travel abroad, what they will be telling you is that they are what they call themselves import. They are doing import and export, or they are importers and exporters. It's about importing and exporting. What is importing and exporting? It's nothing. Nobody is talking about building. So if we want to become a high-yielding people, if we want our nation to become a high-yielding nation, if we want our people to become a high-yielding people, if we want individually ourselves to become high-yielding people, we must begin to focus on building rather than on buying. So you will not be working for you to go because they are paying you salary. Because the reason you should go to work is for you to be able to learn the skills that has made all those people, the owners of that business or the owner of that industry, to be able to build that industry. That's why you should be going to work, not to be paid. The reason why you should be going to work in that place is for you to be able to do and build and recreate and create the same thing that those people have been able to do. Not, buying what they have done, but to be able to recreate. So, but the people who are the way we are right now, we are oriented at buying. And when you are orienting on buying, then you just want to impress other people. You are working hard, spending your whole life to work hard so that you'll be able to have money to be able to buy and impress other people. You say, I got this book, I wrote a book that stop spending the money that you don't have to buy what you don't need, to impress people who don't really care. But that's what our life has been about. We just want to impress people. Impress people. We don't just want to impress people. It's all about impressing people. And that never brings to high-yielding lifestyle. That never becomes a high-yielding life. And it doesn't raise high-yielding personalities. The high-yielding personalities in the world, they are people who are not too much interested in buying stuff. I mean, look at the way Bill Gates dresses. He's not interested in buying. He's interested in creating, in making. Look at the way Mark Zuckerberg dresses. They are not interested in buying. They are interested more in creating. So we must begin to raise up builders. We must be able to create, and the mentality of a builder in our schools, in our young men, in our children, so that our children will be thinking more about how they could recreate and build things that they see around them and be able to surpass and do better, build a greater country, build a greater nation, build a greater, a civilization than what they have made. So this is what the kingdom of God is all about. That's what Jesus told us to do, to bring the kingdom of God here on earth as it is in heaven, to create the kingdom of God here. We are creating, let thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. We are creating heaven and earth. We are creating the kingdom of God here. So, but if you are just focusing on buying, your life will just be about, either comfort, that you just want to live a comfortable life, or your life is focused on just making it, which is survival. You just want to survive. Or your life is based on, focused on trying to impress other people and trying to, pat yourself in the back that you've been able to do what your mates have not been able to do. I mean, that's what lower people do. People with low yielding life. Because, in a city of blind people and you are only one eye person, you are a hero, right? So that's exactly the kind of thing I see among our people. But for me, as for myself, I've made up my mind that I am never going to settle for less. I'm going to be the best in everything I do, either among the whites or among the Europeans or among the Americans, whoever they are. I must be the top of the notch in everything, and I must be able to create and invent as much things as I possibly could. That's why I'm doing this program. If you have seen one of my programs that I do about invention and innovation, creativity, I'm more interested in that, raising up, discovering men and women that could create, discovering men and women that could innovate, discovering inventors, discovering and raising up innovators That's what I've done in Russia, and that's what I'm going to Africa to do by the grace of God. So why are we concerned about not having maintenance culture and all that? Because we cannot create. We don't create. We cannot maintain. You cannot maintain what you didn't create. You can only maintain what you created. I mean, I remember living in Russia has really taught me a lot in the sense of building, because when the Second World War was, broke out, and it's a very, 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 very interesting story that history that we all need to know. And what they did is, because they had 10 years before then, they had put a lot of effort and energy and activities in building industry, in building manufacturing. So when war came, what they did is that they just turned all their manufacturing plants and factories and industries into war machinery building factories. So because they have been able to build, so they were able to build tractors, they are able to build tanks, they are able to build planes. So if they had not learned to build planes, they would not have been able to fight a war. If they had not learned to build tractors, they would not have been able to, to build tanks. So, but if you have taught your people to build, it doesn't matter what they build. When the Germans will come, they will destroy the railway roads and things. They are not like Nigeria that are going to wait and call on the Chinese to come and build them railway rails. No, they don't need to call on anybody. They have to build it. They've learned how to build a nation. They've learned how to build their own railway lanes. They've learned how to build their own railway wagons. They've learned how to build their own locomotives. They've learned how to do everything. So it doesn't matter. Nobody could come in. It was a wartime. But during the wartime, they were building. What is plane? War planes. War planes are being destroyed in the hundreds every day. And they are building it every month, new ones. Because they've been able to, the whole country has been taught to build. They're able to design, new designs. They're able to come up with new projects. They're able to keep on building the economy. It's not the same thing Germans did. The reason why Germans were able to take on the whole world is because they have taught their own people to be able to be builders, not just buyers. So right now what we are doing, we are a country of buyers. And as long as we are just buying what other people build, we are in trouble. We are at their mercy. Just like now we want to fight, our country, Nigeria, is fighting Boko Haram, and we have to go to America to beg them to sell, that we have our money, that they should sell us some planes. Because we are buyers, we are not builders. We couldn't build our own machineries that will make us to be able to win that war. And then the Americans have to tell us, it will take us a year or 2 years, you have to wait. They took our money is working on them, and then we have to wait. Why our people are being killed and destroyed? Because we are not a country of builders. So that's why I want to go to Africa. I want to go back to Africa and show us how to do this. I want us to build our own industrial complex. I want to build us to build our own military complex. I want us to be able to build our own airline complex, not by buying airlines and planes. We want to be able to build our own planes, to be able to build our own locomotives, to be able to build our own railways, to be able to build our cities, to be able to build our roads, our bridges. We have to learn to become builders rather than just users and buyers. So as a result of this mentality of just buying what we need, looking for money, just have money and buy, what happens is that we end up being at the bottom of the ladder, because other nations are going forward, because they are the ones building, so they are the ones projecting the future. They are the ones creating new things for the future, and we are just buying. Other people are sitting down thinking about the new version of iPad that will come on, or the new version of iPhone and iPod that will come out, and some of us are just waiting to buy them. But some people are creating them. Some people are waiting, are sitting in the laboratories, and they are working on the new version of cars and cameras and everything. They are creators. They are builders. While we are just waiting to make money, to go and work as slaves for some people and make money and then build, so that we don't build, but we just buy what other people are building. Then when they are not building anything, then we are at their mercy. We cannot buy anything. And when we don't have money, we cannot do anything. We are just slaves. We come to the bottom of the ladder. We become slaves in life when we don't build. People who don't build, who just buy, they become the losers at the end of the day, because you are a victim of the people you buy from, and you are a victim of the people that you know that you are waiting to supply you with what you need. So it's a big tragedy, not just in the area of national development, but even in the area of church. We're supposed to have people, all these people who are building nations, who are building machineries, coming from the church. But we've got to raise them up to become like this. Not just be rejoicing and jumping up and down. That we can dance and we dancing steps But what about the instruments that we are using to dance? Who built them? Can we build them? Are we building these things in the church? We're not just jumping about and saying we built some church cathedral building. How many of those engineers were able to create and form and all those things that we are using to build? Or we're just paying them off. We're just buying. What happens when you are living a lifestyle of buying instead of building? What happens at the end of the day is that you enjoy today, but you suffer tomorrow, because your future is not in your hand. You don't decide what happens to even you tomorrow. It's a bad thing. It's a horrible lifestyle. So it's all about just enjoying today rather than thinking about destiny tomorrow. A lot of these people work just to buy. A lot of our people spend our lives working just to buy. Just to buy. And we think that's okay, as long as you have the money to buy what you need, that you are fine. No. Buying is primitive. Buying is low yielding. Let's begin to think about how to build. And that's why I take my time, and most of the things I do in my life is to help raise people. Why? I'm raising people who will be builders. I'm raising people who will be able to construct and build, rather than just people to use and buy. If you look at the testimonies coming from our church, like I said, Embassy of God Church, you will discover that most of our people, their testimonies are not just testimonies of, I got this from God, God gave me this, or somebody gave me this, or that, I got that, I bought that, I bought that, I bought this, I bought a new car, I bought a new house. That's not most of the testimonies you are going to see in our church. If you're in the Embassy of God here in Ukraine, most of the things you will hear will be things that they built, they became, they constructed, they created. Your life should be about what you have created, what you have been able to do, what you have been able to build, rather than what you have been able to buy. Buy is cheap. Buy is nothing. Buy is making you a slave. But building is the key. So most of the testimonies, take your time and just write testimonies from Embassy of God Church, or testimonies with Sunday Elijah. You will see a lot of testimonies, a lot of stories of people who are building their lives, building the lives of others. And that's what I do as a pastor. I see myself as a pastor, as a builder. I'm more interested in building people than just attracting or buying people with money, buying people with instruments, buying people with praise and worship dance, buying people with your eloquence, buying people with your grammar or your rhema. But it's about building people up, not about buying. Because these people that are more interested in buying, they just want to impress. They are more interested in impressing in their reputation, in their feel-good attitude. You see, low-yielding life is always concerned about now, and it's always concerned about your feelings, making you feel good now, rather than maybe sacrificing now, denying yourself now, but then having a future, building for the future. That is what we should focus ourselves on. We should major in the future rather than majoring in the now. Well, I would like to encourage you to go and look for as many messages of mine as possible. Go to YouTube, Sunday Elijah Official, and go and listen to as many more messages that will help you to build your life. Don't just be an accident in life. Don't just be a victim of going through the routine of life. Become a builder. Build your life to become a high yielding life. If you are just going to follow through the routines and through the motions of life, then you are just going to end up having a low yielding life. But to have a high yielding life, you need to do it purposefully. And if you have not read my book that is called I'm a Person, but Am I a Personality? This is what it's all about. It will help you to build up yourself as a personality before you begin to build something. You cannot build something out there if you don't build something in yourself first. And yeah, and if you have also not attended any of our HMT classes, History Makers trainings, you might want to do that, because that's a format that we use to also build people up, History Makers training, and we'll be happy to have you. So come and get yourself trained. Come and get yourself trained. Look for the time we are doing the next one and come and join us. Yeah, you could get my books as well. You could get them on Kindle Unlimited for free, or you could buy them. You could write to dssbooks@gmail.com or go to Amazon and buy and build yourself up. That's why I'm writing so many books. I'm writing all these books because I want to build people up. I'm more interested in building. As I started this program, this particular message, one of my disciples here said, Pastor, I keep on learning the value of being a kingmaker rather than just being a king. Yeah, I'm more interested in being a kingmaker, because that's being a builder. I'm building kings. It's much more valuable to be a builder than to be a buyer. See you tomorrow.